Who the Wild Things Are with Ryan Maguire.
You gotta listen to your body.
Oh my God, maybe, I could get out there, I could do this.
Let's take a ride, find your wild side, real stories, see with your own eyes.
It's so beautiful.
I'm gonna have the best time out here.
I was in tears. I was like, that's the best, man.
Welcome back to Who the Wild Things Are. My name is Ryan Maguire, and I'm here to bring you conversations with the most wild folks on the planet. If you're enjoying the podcast, please leave us a rating and review on your podcast platform of choice. And if you enjoyed the episode, share it with a friend. Appreciate you guys. Let's get it going. August 26th to the 30th, we are doing our Field to Feast trip. What that means, it's a 5-day trip where you're going to learn how to safely and responsibly dispatch an animal, process that animal, and learn to actually live on it while traveling through the wild with a band of beautiful humans. It's going to be in an amazingly beautiful area. We're going to learn how to forage wild edibles. We're going to learn how to make fire. We're going to learn all the skills you need to process an animal and use that animal, live with that animal for 5 days. And we're going to laugh a lot while we do it. So if you guys are interested, you can go to survivaluniversity.com, or you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram, or you can just reach out to me. Ask me a question. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Love you guys. Hope to see you in the bush. All right. Welcome back to Who the Wild Things Are, round 2 with Mr. Matthew Bickel. Bickel, how you feeling?
Feel good. My legs are tired, but we can talk more about that today.
Yeah, been a big start to 2026 for you. I guess just getting into this, if you don't know who Matthew Bickel is, I'm not going to tell you because we did a really good episode that actually, when recorded, was the most listened to episode of that year. It's called something like Aliens and Cannabis or something like that. It is a really interesting title. But anyways, if you haven't heard that episode, go listen to it, hear about Bickel's incredible transformation. We're making waves. We're continuing the transformation. A lot of new stuff coming in your life, it seems like, over the last year. I think a good place to start would be talking about 2026 for you personally. What is on your mind? What are you training for? How's your body feeling? Where are you at in the here and now?
So here and now, I've bit off a big chunk. So as of yesterday, you don't know this yet, but as of yesterday, I got my final donation for the Leadville, or for the Lifetime Foundation. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. And so now we have officially a bib for the Leadville 100-mile trail run on August 22nd of this year, which may or may not be 212 days away. And I'm counting those days one at a time. And my body is like decided to come to the party. Like, I've been fighting some injuries over the last few years. Got into running a couple years ago. I ran my first ultra 2 years ago, and then ran a marathon right afterwards, and just kind of went way too many miles, way too fast, and got really bad tendonitis in my glute hamstring. And I've been dealing with a knee arthritic thing for about 7 or 8 years, and somehow committing to this race and getting smart and doing some tactical, things that finally worked. We're sitting here with a healed body, knock on wood, and I feel great. I'd say like every injury is like a 90% or above. So, the most I can ask for at 45 years old. And I'm going to go out and try and run 100 miles in 30 hours on August 22nd.
If I was going to tell you, put yourself back in we'll call him Big Bickel. If I was sitting here with Big Bickel, if you haven't heard the first episode, priorities were in a different spot, 500 pounds, maybe some habits that were not conducive to an active lifestyle. If I was going to tell that guy that he was going to aim in 2026 to run 100 miles through one of the historic ultra marathons in America, what do you think he would have said?
Man, it brings me to this, like, I don't know if you've ever heard this story before, but when the Native Americans were here and the first ships showed up from England, they didn't know, they couldn't even tell what they were, or that they were real, or that there were people on them, because they'd never seen anything like that before. So it was, their brains weren't able to, like, comprehend that that's even something, like a person on a ship in the sea. They'd never seen a ship or a person in the sea. And so I think that's me, for the running. Like, I think I'd have been like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, like the thought of 100 miles. I know the first question I asked when someone told me the first time I heard someone's running 100 miles at one time, like 100 miles, yeah, all months you can get 100 miles, no problem, but to do it all in one stretch. And then the second question is always, are you going to sleep? And that probably would have been the questions I asked. It was when I asked them, and I was definitely not in that shape. And man, the craziest thing is, like, yourself, anyone who doesn't know, Ryan has run the Leadville 100. If you're in case you're just joining the party, and you and a bunch of my other friends made it normal. Like it went from like this unfathomable Englanders on a ship that does not exist and is not real, to all the way to we're training every single day for it. And I'm one of those people, this is like, I've always said this, like, if you can just let me see through the keyhole, I'll fit through. If I can see the vision, if I can get to the part where I'm passionate, like, I'll fit through the keyhole. And I can see through the keyhole. I've seen through it. I got to pace our good friend Bobby Ryan for 20-something miles of Leadville a couple of years ago, which is what lit the fire for me to want to do it the same year you completed it. And man, I just, like, I don't know, it's just crazy enough and just stupid enough that, like, even if I do everything in my power, I don't have 100% chance that I'm going to complete it. And I love those odds, and I love that risk. So see what happens.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Definitely takes bravery. It takes a certain amount of comfort with yourself to put your goals and such out there when this might be a coin flip, whether or not I get there healthy, 8 months from now, whether or not I'm in the shape to run 100 miles, and then when I'm out there, the number of things that can go wrong. And it takes an amount of bravery to kind of call your shot and put it out in front of people, because there's a massive chance that any number of things doesn't work out.
Yeah, I could get attacked by a moose on the trail, like, it's not unfathomable.
Yeah. And it would be much easier to kind of do it in secret, but given that we are social creatures, there's something about this social contract. Humans have this knack to be consistent, right? We build these identities for ourselves. And so it makes it way more powerful. If you were going to quit drinking and you were like kind of serious about it, but not really, you would just, but by yourself, you would say, I'm going to stop drinking so much. I'm going to try not to do this. If you were really serious, you would blast it out to all your friends and put it on Facebook and be like, I'm done drinking. And then everyone else, right, that would drive that social contract. And so there's an amount of seriousness that comes with what you're doing and letting everyone know, hey, I'm calling my shot. It might look like the odds are low, but I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny you say that, Ryan, because truthfully, in my head for the last, like, couple weeks, at first I was quiet about it. And I posted a photo yesterday of me 83 days ago, 85 days now, because it was 2 days ago, but 2 days ago. And I hadn't even thought about the photo until I was standing there looking in the mirror, and I was like, oh yeah, the day I signed up for Leadville, I took a photo and I did not like the way I looked, and I'd been traveling all summer and eating good. And like, after the end of the summer, I had run the marathon last year, and that was such a big event. And I had been going for about 1.5 years of nonstop big Masohis, that I was like, you know what? I need to have an off season. I need to just chill and be a normal person for a minute. And I did that. And of course, quickly got out of shape and put myself in a bad spot. But like, as I've gotten like more passionate about this and it's getting more real, I'm like, you know what? Like, the raising the money is a social contract. Like, other people raise money to help me get onto the starting line. And I'm now racing for other people, and I'm racing for this foundation. And then also on top of that, I love social media. In the day and age that we live in, put it out there, call your shot. You said it perfectly. Like, I'm fearlessly going to put myself in the arena. And even if I get run over, like, or eaten by a moose on the trail, or finish the race, like, it's amazing. And I promise you this, there's two things. One, I'll be proud if I get to the starting line and I do everything that I've done since I've committed from the day off. I just don't need to fall off. The energy, the fire, and the commitment is going to be there. And as long as I can take that to the starting line, I'm good. And then the second thing is like, I truly cannot tell you how much fun I'm having and the growth that I'm getting from this. So who cares? You know, like that's kind of where my head's at.
Yeah, that's why these things are so beautiful, is because it's like, oh, let's say I train my ass off for 8 months and then, I get a stomach bug the day of and I'm vomiting on the day of Leadville. Like, worst case scenario. It's like at the end of the day, you just got like super fit over 8 months and became super like the most dialed version of yourself.
Yep.
It's like that's like worst case scenario.
The journey is the reward. Don't ever forget it. If you get stuck on the destination, like you've missed out on every step of the way. And like I'm already at the point now where like at some point in my day, I'm having the time of my life training. At some point in the day, I'm absolutely miserable training. And I'm trying to split it up into 2 sessions and be a little bit smarter, or 3 sessions and really space it out to where I'm like eating and resting in between. I used to be young and dumb enough to just like take a big swing and do it all in the morning and have my day be over. And this is taking up a lot of it. And, I'm able to commit a lot of my time. I've made a lot of choices in the last year to be able to put myself in a position to where I can actually commit all of my time, not all of my time, but like all of my, a big, huge chunk of every moment that I have besides when I'm not doing the things that I'm responsible for, I can put it all towards this. And it's really exciting. And, I hope that in about, another 3 months that I'm still singing the same thing and that my body's hanging on. But I have a really smart coach. He's the guy interviewing me right now. And he's really helping. And what's funny is like, as little as we've communicated about the workouts and the programming, it's very intuitive, and everything you're giving me is just like right up to the edge of where I need to be. And then we kind of back off, and then I push it again and I kind of back off. And I love the volume, and I love the attention to detail and strength work, and things are going great. So yeah, I know it's a lot, but I'm just freaking thrilled about this. I could talk all day about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. It's been so great. Obviously, we've only been going at it for a month or whatever, but it's such an interesting equation to solve for a coach, like an endurance coach, because trying to figure out how to get a really large man 100 miles, right? And so there's specific mechanical equations that don't line up, right? If somebody's 165 pounds and they ran high school cross country, well, it's like the formula is very simple, right? Like it's pretty much copy and paste.
Yeah.
When that person was a NFL level tackle and they, are a, big human that doesn't have the running background, but has the fire and the energy and the willingness, well, now we kind of have to flip a lot of those concepts on their head.
We're shattering the mold.
But ultimately you have the thing that I look for in any coach, which is like, do you have energy to put towards increasing your performance, right? Like I would much rather coach somebody that wakes up in the morning stoked about getting after it and is excited about the journey than the most talented person in the world who's just like always like, kind of a pissing about, this or that.
Yeah. Well, that ain't me.
It's beautiful. What do you feel like? I know it's been short, but what do you feel like's working? What are the things that feel good for if somebody's listening to this, right? And they're 200 and however many pounds, what are ways that they can try to improve their cardiovascular fitness without taking a massive beating? Okay, great news. For 2026, Last Mountain Man Standing is returning to Conifer, Colorado. What that means is we're going to be racing through the Rocky Mountains. It's a 4-mile loop with Mountain Man style obstacles. If you make it through the loop in 1 hour, you get to keep going. If you make it through 6 loops, the 7th loop is a race on the same course to decide the last mountain man and woman standing. They will each win the cash prize and take it home with them, be crowned victorious. If you don't want to get competitive, you just want to come out, we're going to have a beautiful mountain camp set up with vendors, good vibes, everyone hanging out. You can do a single lap. We call that the Foxtrot for a discounted price. And ultimately, it's just a great day in the mountains. July 18th is when it's going down, and I hope to see you guys there.
Yeah, so volume, I'll tell you one thing. I bought a Peloton, and I've had a C2 bike forever, and I love to ride bikes. I'm on a bike all the time, but man, the Peloton, it almost like, I think it's the weight of the wheel and the cranks, and it like spins your legs faster. It's almost like running on a treadmill versus running on a self-propelled, like a motorized. So when the momentum gets going on the pedals, your legs just spin faster, which just increases your heart rate. And then also you can fire your fast twitch muscles and really keep the thing spinning. And it just becomes like a high intensity workout, which is so low impact and so good a volume. And I have it set up in front of a big, huge TV. And so one thing that's been working is the night shift, is what I've been calling it. Getting done with my dinner, and where usually anyone would sit on their couch and waste 2 hours and then go to bed, and using that as a training block and knocking out a really good piece, and then having to come down from that and deregulate, which is actually a good practice and also working out at night is a good practice, because this is a 30-hour race and I will be working out through the night. And so I don't want to become this creature of habit that only works out at 8 in the morning until 12. And then I'm sleeping every night. And so breaking up that habit and having that in my routine has been huge. And then the diversity of training. Like I love, this, but no one else does yet. I love to pull sleds. I love to I'm a stair climber. I love putting on a weight vest. I love rucking. I love hiking. I love running. I love biking. I love cardio. I love the gym. And that's why I wanted you to be my coach, is because you know that I love that. And and I know you love that too. And I also know that you understand the importance of taking, one of the parts of the equation is my muscle on my body. I have 221 pounds of lean muscle, which is, my lean muscle will be heavier than any other runner on the course. And then I still have to take my bones and my fat and my blood and my water pack. But having said that, that's an advantage. In some way, we're going to find a way to make that an advantage. When we get to Hope Pass and your boy chops off those first 36, it's going to be eating time. I'm going to get on that mountain and just start eating people. And that's like something that I'm really, really excited about. And I'm training and putting that into that. But having said all of that, I think that's where we're seeing the progress. And then the volume is making me lose weight. And I think losing weight is going to be a huge piece of this puzzle. I would like to race at 251. I'm calling my shot, because Strava has a 250 plus category, and I don't want to lose all my KOMs. If you check me on Strava, I've got most of the 14ers I've ever done. I have over an hour KOM at 250 plus. So trying to hang on to that, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
To your knowledge, has anyone at that kind of weight completed Leadville 100?
No, I've talked to a bunch of people about it, and there's 220 pound guys, 210 pound guys. That's like a big monster up there. And 250 plus, I've checked on Strava. There's no 250 plus on the Strava. Even if someone walked it and not just the course, it's not on there. So my goal is to not get time capped at May Queen in, because that's the last time cap. And even if I have to crawl and it takes 39 hours, which I don't think it would, but at May Queen, you're 13 miles from the finish line. That's the last time cap. And if you can make that, then you still don't get a belt buckle if you don't finish in 30 hours, but you finish and you get a medal. And I don't even wear belts. So, if I could just get across the finish line, get the 100 miles on my watch and do it, and they not kick me off the course, that's my actual finish time goal. But again, the only thing I'm going to be proud of and worried about is how I show up to the starting line. I think we'll know 1 to 2 months before the race if it's going to happen or not. We'll start to see things happen that are either going to be like, well, shit, here we go, it's happening. And either way, I'm going to the starting line. And either way, if I get time capped, I'm going back to the starting line. And if it takes me 7 years to do this, I'll do it. But I'm going to learn something every day, and I'm going to, come out swinging. That's how I've done everything in my life. So I see no different reason to do it other than this. And anyone who's extreme enough to get over 500 pounds is extreme enough to run 100 miles. I promise you that.
Wow. Yeah, I like that. You can use that energy in either direction, huh?
Either way, it's the fire's lit. It's just where I take it with me. I can't, it's in here. I don't know. I'm blessed. So
yeah, I think it's cool to think about being the heaviest person to ever finish. At hundreds, I'm usually a big guy, right? And you're way bigger than me, but me on the start line is, all the little runners next to me that weigh 140 pounds, I'm 190, and, I'm a big guy, and you've got another person on me. So, Yeah, it's really interesting. I think it'll be a really cool story. And one of the things that people think with 100 milers, particularly like men who have already done things in their life, like you've started a successful business, you've worked out in CrossFit, blah, blah, blah. You've done a lot of hard stuff. And a lot of guys have this idea like, oh, I'm tough. Like I'll just gut out 100 miles. And pretty much always they DNF, right? Toughness will not get you across the Leadville 100 course in under 30 hours. It does take prep, it takes volume, and it takes a lot of learning. There's a lot of learning to travel that kind of distance. You can gut out a trail marathon, you can gut out like a 50, but once we're talking about surviving for 30 hours overnight, technical trails, guts don't do it alone. You have to put in the work, and that's what I'm seeing from you is you're like, yeah, I'll put in an easy session at night before bed just to sneak in an extra hour of aerobic volume. I'll go an extra 30 minutes on my uphill stair climber session because I know what's coming at Hope Pass. And those are the things that I'm seeing, and I think those are good signs. We've got a long way to go, but all directions are pointing west towards the mountains.
And truthfully, like I look at this as like me as a runner. I'm 282 right now, 280 yesterday on the scale, but this morning 282. So I'm right around 280, and me at 280, just shifting me at 250 is going to open up a whole can of worms that we don't have available to us yet. And I'm not in a rush to get to that number. I'm not going to starve myself to get to that number. But taking on this type of volume, which is required to get to the destination we're trying to get to, is going to force the body to that. And so, it's only 30 pounds. And as funny as that sounds, like for most people, that's like a third of their body weight. That's like, a couple good months for me. And we'll be right there sitting pretty. And like everything was getting a little easier. Today I had a 3-mile run, and I went and did it on a assault runner. And I hate assault runners. They're just like, it's a grind. And I jumped on it, and the first 5 or 6 minutes, I felt absolutely horrible. I've been training a lot. My body's beat up. I'm working really hard. This is all new. And, I'm just, I was like, man, do I just, I'm sore. Do I walk for a little while? And I just kind of forgot that I'm getting in enough shape that like, I just forgot to even be complaining or feel bad for myself. And I looked down and I was like, oh, I'm 2.5 miles in. I got 800 meters to go. Like it's the relative volume of 10 miles is getting smaller. And so we just have to make 100 smaller. And, we've got a lot of time to do it. And even if we don't get there, like, I don't know, I'm fearless of trying, and I'm fearless of failing. And that's the best part is it's not going to affect me one bit. And I will come back and keep fighting for the rest of my life if I have to, but maybe we'd take a big swing and get her done in a year,
Yeah, I think we can. Obviously, if I thought you were like absolutely crazy, I wouldn't have taken this on. I'm very grateful that you chose me, and I am partially grateful, like as your friend, but also grateful to learn, right? Like how many coaches get to, put a guy who's 285 pounds on a Leadville training program? Probably no one ever, or like no one ever to do it successfully. So it's a cool thing that I get to be a part of too. So I'm really stoked about that.
I'm glad. That means the world to me, dude. I know it's a perfect fit. It really is. And I said this to you the first time we talked about coaching is like, we could do something absolutely insane and separate ourselves from the pack real quickly. Not that we're trying to, but I mean, I'd certainly, I wouldn't mind making a name for myself and for you by, doing something that we put this thing together with. And that's exactly why I wanted you as my coach too, is because as soon as it's warm and these mountains are accessible right over here, like we're going to be in them together and side by side. And I think that's going to allow so much like hands-on that I wouldn't get anywhere else. And our lifestyles are both been shaped to put us into those mountains and make that a part of our common day-to-day routine. And we get to celebrate that together. And I think that is just like going to make this so much fun.
Yeah, definitely. We kind of started this group, the Wild Athletes, which is you and the other guys and girls that I coach. And everyone kind of has that same undertone, which is like just joy and gratitude to be out there in the mountains, like pursuing this process. Everyone has a different thing. We have
guys that are trying to make the SWAT team. We've got a 280-pound gorilla trying to run 100 miles. We've got girls that are doing high rocks, guys that are doing half marathons. But like everyone is just stoked on the idea of getting fit and being joyful while doing it and doing it for the right reasons. So it's everything to have like a community around you that can lift you up on those days where 3 miles feels basically impossible, and just like, you know, connecting with those people are like, yo, I just had a baby and I just ran 3 miles. Like I had a baby like last month and I'm on the treadmill. It's like,
It's my hero, bro.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, background there. I'm also coaching Erin, my sister, who just had a baby and is also attempting to run Leadville 100. So 2 very interesting coaching cases between the 2 of you.
She and I could argue who's crazier. You know what I mean? Like we can have a real good solid argument about, you might be crazy. I don't know. Well, I want to say something about the joy. I've learned that there's I learned from 2 athletes in a really beautiful way. And one is David Goggins and one is Chris Roglatsky. And I thought there was only David Goggins that could run 100-milers. And I thought that it came from a place of pain and suffering and willingness to break and not be like, I thought that was it. And I thought that was the only way to do it. And that never gave me interest. And I met my awesome friend, Chris Roglatsky, who runs for joy and runs because her legs propel her up mountains. And I was shocked because like my favorite story to tell about Chris is the last 2 times she's done Leadville, she hikes Mount Massive, probably the hardest 14er, the route she told me to go, probably the hardest 14er I've ever done in my life, that like at least the day I picked it and the way I did it. And she does that the night before the race every year and watches the sunset and then runs down and then sleeps in her car because it's hard to get a place to stay for the run, and then wakes up and runs the freaking 100-mile run. And the first year she did it, she did Mount Elbert the day after the race, which is just like, you know, that's just like crazy to me. But what she does it all from is like a joy that just exudes from her every time you're around her. And her aura is just this bright yellow light of a human being that wants to run around mountains and and explore and celebrate their body. And like, I want to be one to hike that when I grow up. And so, you know, that's what I'm trying to exude. And it's something that you do the exact same, right? Like you're just a happy, blessed guy, and you exercise your fitness through mountains and, nature and joy. And those are things that like, I want to be a part of. And so if I'm going to go swimming, I'm always going to check out the deep end. You know, that's just who I am.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think of it, I call it the light side and the dark side. Because I've actually had this conversation with a lot of people on here. Christopher McDougall being very much on the light side. Chris Roglatsky has also been on the pod and very much on the light side. And then there's the people that are that have the dark side as well. And from what I have drawn as a conclusion for myself personally is that the light side is the most sustainable, best way to live. If you are an individual that can also tap into the dark side when you need it for a short period of time, it can burn hotter, but it's not sustainable. And so if you are somebody who can live in the light side but have access to that dark side when you need it, when things get really hard, that, in my opinion, at least for me personally, is when I'm at my best, when I can be almost always in the light but have access, if I need it, to that dark side. You
have to get there, to do some. I've done a few hard things so far, and there's definitely, you're not like, this is so great in the middle of it. You definitely have to dig in. But the cool thing is, the second you complete the task, even if it's a failure, like, I did the 50-mile mountain bike last year at Leadville and broke my bike at like mile 41 and had to walk it into the last time check and missed it, and only got to ride. I literally got to miss the 10 miles of downhill fun that I fought all day for, and then had a broken bike and had missed the time cap. But I was like, man, I was smiling from ear to ear. I couldn't have tried harder. Like, I know how to give 100%. And that's always my goal. For whatever reason, my goal, and it's not, I know I'm going to give 100%, but I know no one else does. And so my goal is always to prove to whoever's around me, I'm going to give you 100%. And I think it's a team thing from playing football. But I ran a High Rocks, my first High Rocks about 6 months ago. And I did it with a 10 times CrossFit Games athlete who's finished in the top 5 before, like one of the fittest humans on earth. And he all I wanted to give him was like, hey man, I'm going to give you everything I got. And like by like the 4th or 5th lap, he was like, bro, I could tell you're trying your hardest. Like you could chill a little bit if you want. I was just like digging with everything I had. And that's me, whether I fall on my face or not, hair less, but I'm certainly going to give it everything I got. So yeah, that's where we're at.
That's all you can ask for. Speaking of CrossFit, kind of a shift for you working with this new group, World Fitness Project. I don't know that much about it. Obviously, I got to come to San Diego and do the Project One with you guys, which was an absolute blast. But yeah, tell everyone about World Fitness Project, how you got involved, what's the vision there?
Okay, July 1st to the 5th, the Primitive Skills Run is returning to Colorado. What this means is we're going to be doing an ultralight trip, learning how to live off the land, learning how to forage wild edibles and catch fish, living really like our ancestors used to. It's going to be July 1st to the 5th. To sign up, you can go to thesurvivaluniversity.com or you can go to the link in my bio. And remember, you don't have to be a runner necessarily to go on the Primitive Skills Run, but you do need to have a general level of fitness. If you have any questions, I can provide all the information. Just reach out to me personally or check out the website for more details. Hope to see you in the bush.
Yeah, man, that's a really cool thing. I'm glad you asked and brought it up. I was hoping we were going to get to talk about it today. So World Fitness Project is like a new spinoff of functional fitness. A bunch of people who loved CrossFit and still do love CrossFit and the methodology of it and the training and the community and the competition. We kind of were like at a point where these are good friends of mine, at a point in just the state of affairs with the sport and with the company. And we were like, man, like, I think, they have a great thing. I think there's a possibility to do it greater. And we wanted to do 2 things, most importantly. One was to professionalize the sport. Right now, if you're a CrossFit athlete and you try to make the CrossFit Games, you first have to pay to sign up for the Open, then you compete in the Open, then you have to pay to sign up for a quarterfinal, and then you travel to that place on your own dime, stay there, compete. If you win, I think there's maybe like a couple $1,000s or something like that, which wouldn't even hardly cover, your food for the weekend. And then you have to go to the CrossFit Games, pay your way there, pay to compete. You have to pay to sign up for the games. And then if you win a lot of money. I think it's like 300 or 400 grand. But like after like 4th or 5th place, it's, for an entire year's worth of work, these kids are making less than 40 grand a year off their sport, besides, any sponsorships they have. So just from the sport, they're not making any money and they're getting crushed. And Will, the director of sport at World Fitness Project, the guy I did the High Rocks with, he retired from the sport and was working with a family and had been coaching them for years. The mom is a 65 or 60 plus Masters Games athlete. Like, these people love fitness. They're a very fit family. And he's been working with them for years. And he actually retired. They were like, hey, let's start a nonprofit and give free fitness to kids. And so they were working on that and going to do that in Tennessee. And then things just started to kind of crumble from a community aspect and from an athlete aspect. And so within the sport, and they were like, man, maybe we could start to help put the pieces back together, but do it our own way. And so that was the sport piece. And then the community piece, they were like, CrossFit has crushed it on community. Like, there's something about going to a gym and suffering with your friends. The magic's in the community. It's like really where it is. And I think that as they sold to a private equity company and kind of became more bottom line and bottom dollar, that they kind of lost track of that. And so we just as a community person myself, I jumped in as quickly as possible. Like, hey, I know you guys have the sport and I know that's important to you, but I also know that the community part's important to you. And so I've had a chance to jump in and do the community part, which is the second head of the company. And we're trying to unite all of the people of the world to do fun workouts and to, rejoin kind of forces as a united front of people that want to do fitness and taking these like segregated worlds of High Rocks or of Spartan or of marathons or of CrossFit and blend them all together and just get everybody doing fun stuff. And so we have our tour stops, which we do 3 a year. This year coming up, we're going to be in Mexico City in May. And then in July, we're in Indianapolis, Indiana. And then in December, we have our World Championships in Copenhagen. And the way that our season works is we pay our top 20 athletes guaranteed contracts, male and top 20 male and female, guaranteed contracts to come compete. We pay for their flights. We put them in hotels. We treat them like pro athletes. And so from the competitive side, we're trying to change the sport to instead of like a one-stop shop. You talked about showing up to the starting line and having a stomach bug. And, with the CrossFit Games, you had 1 week a year to make all your money for the whole year. And so now we have 3 opportunities where tour stops have big purses and opportunities for these kids to win more money besides their guaranteed contracts on top of their guaranteed contracts. And so that's our first initiative. And our second initiative is Project One, which you and I did on the beach together in San Diego. It's our version of a high rock style workout. So hybrid running, more CrossFit strength oriented. So box step overs with a heavy weight on your back, sandbag carries and farmers, but then the rest of it's all cardio, the three concept 2 machines and 800-meter runs. So we've got something really cool that we are really excited to bring to the world. And we also are good friends with the High Rocks folks, and they've kind of laid out an awesome blueprint of how to do it. And so we're like, man, can we provide to the same community that is thriving off of this and give them kind of a lower barrier of entry chance to try something similar to a High Rocks, but a little bit shorter. So very long story, but that's what's going on with World Fitness Project.
Yeah, that's awesome. A lot of questions there. First one I just want to know about the competitive landscape for World Fitness Project. I actually have no idea about it. So you were saying top 20. Does that mean that those are the only people that compete at those events? And inside of that, let's say, so it seems like, okay, there's other people at the events competing. How do you decide who gets into the top 10?
Yeah. So what it is, we actually have 40 people compete, males and females. The top 20 are from our world championships last year. So we had 3 events. All the athletes came. We signed the first year. It was our first year. And so we signed who we thought were going to be the top 20. And then we had online competitions for anyone that we didn't sign. And then we used a qualifier standard where basically you could qualify online, come to the competition and have a chance to compete against these guys. And instead of it being separate events, they all had an accumulating point system that led to the end of the season. And whoever was in the top 20 at the end of the season after the 3 events got the contracts for this year. And then everyone else competes online to fill the back 20 spots. And so we've reserved the right to invite a few people that just like, somebody had a hurt back or had to, couldn't get in because life happens. It's 3 times a year. You can't come to all 3 competitions. Then we reserve the right to invite people, but we also are having qualifiers online. And then we're also going to start allowing local competitions like around the world to qualify their champion to be one of our invitees.
Very cool.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good idea. I think one place that High Rocks has obviously shined is legitimizing the elite field. Like I kind of ended up in Spark racing, competitively, and got out very quickly because I saw that like the people at the top who had spent their time and resources to get there were not being compensated. I mean, Spartan was the worst example, right? Because they straight up didn't pay a bunch of my friends or me. The similar thing, right, seems to happen with CrossFit and with a lot of these different things. They kind of, for some reason, they don't emphasize the top of the sport, which there's not any major sport in the world that doesn't work like that. Like there has to be this emulation of the people at the top who you respect and who are taken care of. So I think there's definitely a spot there for World Fitness Project to redirect funds towards the athletes, kind of like High Rocks is, right? Like 3 years ago, there was no such thing as a professional High Rockser. And now there's tons of professional High Rocks athletes that are living and devoting their time 100%, no questions asked, full-time High Rocks.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And where CrossFit's a little different than High Rocks is Greg Glassman started CrossFit, and Greg figured out how to save people's lives. And he really did. Like he created a fitness routine that if you go do it, it'll save your life. Like it saved mine. And I watch people like, go transform completely through the sport when done correctly and when approached the right way. He wrote Fitness in 100 words. It's worth a read. It's basically like the movements to perfect or to become proficient in, the ways to eat and the way that your body functions. And so for him, the CrossFit Games was like a marketing tool but it became so big and grew so huge that it almost took away from this actual secret sauce, which is this is not for the CrossFit games are great. I heard him say on a podcast one time that like when you're selling cars and you invite, like, this is so terrible because I love these athletes and these are my good friends, but it was just a cool analogy. It's like when you're selling cars and you have a clown come down and make balloon animals, people don't come for the balloon animals, but they buy cars because they're happy and see a cool thing. And that was a kind of a low way of saying it, but basically it's a marketing tool. And Greg, as it grew and got bigger, I think he was just like, no, this is not what it's about. It's about helping someone be able to get off the couch when they're 80 years old. And I love that about him. But High Rocks is just simply a really cool competition in a box to check of like, I've done a High Rocks, or I compete in High Rocks, I train for High Rocks. I heard Christian say that they built a golf course for people that had only been using the driving range their whole life. So, you go out and run your whole life, you go to the gym your whole life, but you never got to go play golf. And this is a chance to go out and play golf. And I think that's what's crushing with High Rocks. But I'm definitely, High Rocks is definitely getting people healthy. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think that was their like number one focus. I think they built something for healthy people and people that are trying to get healthy tagged along, which is great. And Greg's was the opposite. He built something to get people healthy and healthy people tagged along.
Yeah, it can be done in either order, right? Like High Rocks more is it's the order in which like triathlon works, right? You train for a triathlon and it gets you healthy. You train for an Ironman and it gets you healthy because you're biking and running and swimming. High Rocks, you're training for a High Rocks, it gets you healthy. It doesn't start the other way around where it's like, no, I just go to CrossFit and I ended up being really good at it and I progressed to such a level. I think what I would say where that kind of misses the mark, the thing about the CrossFit games is that in order to save lives, people sometimes need a visualization of what that looks like. And so instead of, thinking about it as like a marketing tool, like for, or if it is a marketing tool, then lean into that and realize how powerful of a marketing tool it is. Because when you have an individual like Sam Dancer or Chandler or whoever these people are, they can save lives the same way the box can on the corner, right?
You're right.
Like
That's how I got into it.
With social media, it's actually, they probably have more. They have infinite leverage, right? So you're probably more likely to get saved by Sam Dancer or one of these elite CrossFitters now than you are to just happen to stroll into a box because the world has changed.
Yep.
Like the way everything works is different now.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. And that's why I think World Fitness Project is such a cool opportunity because with this new world, really these athletes need a place to grow their personal brand, which is now we give them 3 competitions a year all around the world to grow their personal brand. And a genius move, we've hired this massive media team that comes to all of our events and films and photos every single person and gets them tons and tons of content for themselves because we live in a world of content now. And they just pump them full of content. So it's a chance for these kids to get more brand exposure for all the brands they work with. And that on the athlete side is amazing. And then because we're going into all these communities and going all around the world, why not follow along and build something sustainable and long-term be off of the marketing arm that we have that is our athletes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Organizing an event can be scary. I put on a race called Last Mountain Man Standing last year. And like, yeah, just getting it kicked off the ground. Like you're like, oh, people might judge this or they might not think it's cool. There's just like a million things that swirl through your head and tell you not to do it. And then literally the easiest process of the entire day was the day of. Like I just laughed, smiled the entire time. I wasn't worried about anything. Everybody was raving. This is the best day ever. Like, this is amazing. Like, there's such a compulsion, need, survival mechanism, something that's going on where people need to be active with other individuals and they don't have the opportunity. Like, when you're young, you have team sports, right? But like that need doesn't go away as you get older. It's still there. You need to be active with other people to like have this outlet. And the moment, like if you're someone that's ever thought about organizing an event, and you obviously are taking a big part in this with WFP, once you get there, it's like so positively the right thing, and you're so happy that you're involved in it.
Yeah, man. Crushed it. In the external, like in the world we're living in, WFP is big enough that there's a bunch of haters. And it's, when I say a bunch, it's like a 2% of the world, but it's, or of the CrossFit world, but unfortunately they make the most noise on the internet. And so they talk all this trash about it. And it's like, man, if they only knew how much the people that are doing this just love people and love the sport and love fitness, and are trying to help make something cool for the athletes and for other people, like, man, it just cracks me up. But like we're almost like refused to respond, just like I don't even pay attention to it. Like I am, but I'm also not under any scrutiny directly from these people. They know who I am, but they're not hating on me personally, so that's good. But man, I watch like this family that is like actually has the means and the ability to do something about a sport that they care so much about people that they care so much about. I've never seen someone receive so much hate, but I always also hear that if you don't have haters, you're not doing it right. So they're obviously doing something right because they're paying attention. The haters are paying very close attention.
Yeah, and you're just like in that bubble where like WFP hasn't like passed the smell test yet, so people like just like to test shit. But it's like with High Rocks 2 years ago. You remember everyone shit on it. It was like, oh, High Rocks athletes this, the standards are that, and then it just grew and swelled to the point where like now anybody who tries to make fun of it is like, it's like making fun of cross country skiing in the Olympics. Like, it's a sport and everyone recognizes it. It's like, if you don't like it, you're just kind of weird. So I'm sure once you guys hit like, a couple years into the journey, like there's going to be nothing that people can say. Like once you battle through that hate and like you walk through the mud, then it's like, what now?
Yeah. And when knowing the vision and the mission, as long as we stay the course, we will get there. You know what I mean? Like, we have no bad intentions. All we're trying to do is help people. And these athletes, man, they kill themselves year round. I mean, you've seen the way Chandler and Sam train, and like, they're professional athletes and they're not given a professional field to operate in. And if you're able to win the CrossFit Games every year, 6-figure salary, and that's great. But like, what's sustainable? How can you build something to like, retire in 10 years and give to your family and give to your kids? That it doesn't exist in the sport yet, besides through sponsorships. And we're trying to create and professionalize a sport that hopefully we have on TV one day. Hopefully these guys are getting, like this NBA and NFL and MLB type money. And if we don't push the limits of the sport, we'll never get there. And the way that it was going was not headed that direction. So we'll see what happens.
Is the hate, is it mostly like standards hate, like that CrossFit guy who always like takes pictures of people like not going deep enough? I don't even remember what his name is.
Yeah,
it's like the one guy who always.
Yeah, there's definitely those people, but it's not over the standards of the movements at all. It's like direct scrutiny of anything. Like, it'd be like if I watched you run Leadville last year and I was like, yeah, but your shoe was untied a half a mile, you idiot. You're like, what? Like, my shoe was untied. Like, hey, shoes come untied. Like we had some equipment break during competition. One was absolutely pretty epic. The athlete before moved the pin on a GHD machine. You can raise and lower where your legs go in for GHD sit-ups. And we have an equipment person that comes by and checks and makes sure that the pin is in after the athletes adjust stuff. So this athlete pulls the GHD so high that he puts the pin underneath the actual hole, but the pin went through because it was underneath. So then the person comes and checks. Then he does an entire workout and doesn't pull it off. And so,
no way.
Yeah. So then
it stays on.
So then the next heat happens and a guy comes out and he checks his GHD, the pin's through, they come double check it, and he pulls it off. So poor Austin Hatfield gets the worst deal over a guy who adjusted it before. But online, all you see is a guy doing sit-ups, the thing rips off, he falls, he doesn't get hurt. He actually he slipped and fell on his butt. And I went and talked to him afterwards, and I go, hey man, you all right? He goes, yeah, man, I bruised my gooch. I was like, well, that's, of all things that could have happened, that's probably a really good thing. And of all the athletes that could have happened to, he laughed about it. He was cool about it. We figured out a way to like give him some time. You know, it's one of those things where you have to like change the standard operating procedures because something happened. And so we did that, and like all this hate, everyone just like, oh, and to the point of how cool everyone on my team is, this is probably the first time this story is being told from our side. They just said, hey, the machine malfunctioned. We're so sorry. We'll fix it and it won't happen again. And like, you know, the grace and the class with which everyone at WFP is operating is like so cool. Because there's so many times I would be like, you know what, bro? And I finally just was like, you know what? I'm blocking all these people. And that way I don't see it because it would show up in my algorithm because I'm a fitness guy. And so and it would make me mad and it would hurt my feelings because it was my friends they were talking about. And so I blocked them. And like, actually the guy you're talking about posted a video of screenshot of me having him blocked. It's like, why did dude block me? And I'm like, bro,
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And I haven't talked about this publicly either, but just like, I blocked you because I don't want to see it. You know, like my eyes are on looking down the road. They're not looking behind me. And I would say that the majority of the people who are hating are just sad because they didn't get an invite to the party. It's a cool thing. We're doing something awesome and it's fun. And there's a lot of hate because the folks that do it are wealthy and they're completely self-made, starters from nothing. How can you hate someone who's just worked their butt off their entire lives to be successful? And instead of just hiding it and sitting in a castle in England going, ha ha, you know, they're out here living in the world and making it a better place and helping as many people as they can without even a goal, like a direct mission of a profit. They just want to break even and make it cool. And then hopefully it becomes something big one day, you know, like it's pretty crazy, but it's fun to be on the inside looking out instead of the outside looking in. And I'm having a blast doing it. Like I get to go around the world and do fitness with people for a job. That's what I paid my whole life to do. And so now I have this amazing opportunity, and like thinking about training for Leadville and all the travel I have coming up, like I'm going to get to run some of the most beautiful places in the world. I'm going to get to explore so much. Like I'm just on fire for this opportunity and how the two can lend to each other, you know?
Definitely. Yeah, it's really important to have criticism in the world because it allows, if not, we'd have power that goes unchecked, right? Like individuals that seek power would be able to get it, hold on to it, maintain it, and treat people really poorly. So it's like very important that we have critics as a human race. But the downside of that is like whatever genetic code makes a critic, like when they don't have something good to criticize, they still have to get that out, right? So they still have to have an outlet, something to criticize. And then they end up criticizing like people trying to get fitter, which like is just like the genealogy didn't have like a ruling evil dictator to attack. And so it like really needs an outlet. And so it like attacks something as harmless as CrossFit. It's like, if we could just redirect that into something that's like actually evil, like you could be really useful to us, like finding injustice.
Yeah. Go work for the military. You know, like they got all kinds of things to be upset about, you know, or the government. Like for God's sake.
Right.
That's so fun.
we need you, right, as a person, as a race, but like just angle the scope maybe somewhere else.
Keep it off the
like, get a new target.
It hurts me so bad to see nice people get scrutinized. Like it's like, man, you're just trying, like I'm getting hate for trying to do my best and make the world a better place. But you know, it's the world we live in, and you know, I always have a quote. It's like, I'd rather be on the outside looking in than the inside and not know it. I'd rather see that it's a problem and recognize that and feel sad about it and empathic than be the problem and have no idea that I'm the problem and just be sucking, you know? So that's not the world I want to live in.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's a world we live in, and you get more of it on social media now than maybe in the past. You know, you hear more of it, so you have to guard your energy, and it sounds like that's what you did, was just kind of let yourself not see it as much. And I think ultimately that's the way we're all going to have to go, you know, in the future.
Yeah. And again, like it's the saddest thing would be to be so insignificant that no one was talking bad about you or good. And so, you know, like having a presence in this world where even if it's a tiny little micro fraction of a percent of being known or being, you know, of having that type of world, then you're doing something right because people are noticing. So I want people to notice, and if it's bad or good, that's their opinion and they're allowed to have it. But I'm sure proud of what we're doing, and I'm so excited to be on this team. It's like we have our call every week, and I'm just like, I can't pinch myself. I'm like working with some of the coolest humans I know, and we're just planning out this like super rad thing around something that I love so much. And so it's easy to be excited all the time.
So far, who's dominated the men's field, or like respectively, who's dominating the men's field, who's dominating the women's field?
Yeah, so that's a great question. James Sprague won our championship last year, and James won the games 2 years ago. And James is actually staying with us in Phoenix and is going to run the High Rocks and has been training since World Fitness Project, which is in December, for the first CrossFit Games athlete sub 1 hour High Rocks. I think he's run a 1 hour and like 1 minute or something, or 1 hour and 80 or 40 seconds or something. But he's going to try and go sub 60, which I think is going to be really cool. And he is just the awesomest kid, man. Like such good vibes, so cool, and such a good face of the sport. And then the females is Laura Horvath, who is a bad woman, dude. She is like, she's from Hungary, and she is just like, she was very young in the sport when she got second, I think when she was like 20 or 19 or something like that. And then quickly became a big part of the sport, and like also quickly grew into like her grown woman diva status. And so she went from like this like sweet girl from Budapest who likes to work out to like, I am a strong woman, I am a beast, and I am owning this. And so I love that she's the face of our female side of the sport. And obviously we have a bunch of other amazing females, but she was our champion, and she's the best one to have, in my opinion, because she is proud to be a strong, powerful woman, and she is beaming that out to the world for all other women out there.
Yeah, I remember I watched there's these really cool, I think it's on Amazon Prime, like the CrossFit documentaries that they put out. There's a different, I don't remember what the name was, Unbroken or something
Fittest
like
on
that.
Earth.
Fittest on Earth. And each one like had like a different subtitle for each
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
But
yeah,
they're really cool documentaries.
Yeah, my friends
And the one,
those.
yeah. The one where Laura Horvath wins she was my favorite character in the show, because like she was just so herself, just like not, she's just she's a CrossFitter, right? And it just like comes through. She's not like media trained. She's just like, oh yeah, this is what I do, like, and just 100% authentic at all times. And she also, I remember specifically, I think she's in like an interview after she wins, and it's not the big one in front of the crowd. It's kind of one with somebody afterwards. And she basically reiterates that same message that you mentioned. Like, I'm trying to show that like, this is what a female can be. Like, a female doesn't have to be your guy's image of it. This is a female. This is what women can be. We can be strong. We can kick ass, and we can, say what's on our heart. And I think it was a really cool message. Yeah,
man. She's awesome, dude. She's I'm lucky enough to call her a friend, and I'm just couldn't be more proud of like watching what she does. She's so strong, and she runs so fast. And I mean, to be able to blend that all together is truly, truly cool. And to keep your wits about you too, and still be a cool human being is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's hard, right? You could definitely let that head swell a little bit. She'd win a couple big umps.
Yeah, she'd be allowed to. She's proved it.
So outside of Leadville, outside of WFP, what other events are you looking at for you personally?
Honestly, like I'm lucky enough to have put things into 2 boxes this year. And one is, career and passion. And the other one is, Misogi and Leadville. And I have a lot of things on the calendar to build me into Leadville. Most coming up, I think in the next 30 to 40 days, I have a 20-hour race up in Netherlands. It's just up and down a mountain for 20 hours from noon till 8 a.m. the next day, which will get me some overnight running experience. And there's no time cutoffs. There's no, I can stop anytime I want and warm up for 20 minutes. Like it's no pressure. So I'm really excited about that. Doing a 100-mile gravel ride in Truda at the end of April. WFP in Mexico City in May. Project 1 in Amsterdam, Athens, Greece, and Barcelona, Spain, all 3 weeks back to back to back. A lot of trails in those mountains that are going to be a bad day to be those trails. when I get out there. And then pushes us into the summer. Summer is just like, I have, if you can look right here, that's the big ass calendar, and she's filling up pretty good. We got Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim, Leadville Marathon. I'm going to see how much time I can take off. I did the Leadville Marathon last year at 3:15, and didn't get a time capped. I think I did an 8:40, and there's a 9-hour time cap. And so I'd like to see that turn into like I mean, let's just see. I'm not going to call any shots on that. I'm going to go run as fast as I can. I walked a lot of it last year, and there's a lot that I can run now. So give that a swing. And then, as bad as I want to fill up with like 800 more races, everything I've been learning is just like, wait for, there's only so much like, good quality pain cave to spend every year. And so like saving a lot of it for Leadville, I think is going to be a good idea. And the thing I will say about me is every time I try something out of my league, somehow, and I'm not saying it's going to always happen, but I somehow, when I ask for a lot, I have a day. And I've had a day a lot of times. I did Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim last year and just had a day, did the marathon, 315 pounds, happened to have a day and finished, didn't get time capped. And so, and that's without like very, very laser focused preparation. I like to train. I've always liked to train. And so I've never trained with a why. That's the one thing I haven't mentioned on here that I would love to is, besides playing college football, that's the last time, that was over 20 years ago, that I trained to win a game, to be the best tackle, to help Baylor football win. Since then, it was like to lose weight for like 10 years is why I trained. And then that turned into this joy of going to train and enjoying training. And I've never put like, because I got to play in football in front of 85,000 people screaming their heads off, like the arena isn't like attractive to me. It's not something that I need to go get to fill a cup. Like every time I've gone to do one of those things, I'm always like, yeah, it was cool, but like, I want to go back to training, like I just like going to the gym with my buddies. And I've like, for some reason I picked this why that's so far out there that's like, okay, I've got this why now that like every time I'm in the middle of a set and I want to, I'm fit, I don't need to do this 4th set, the 5th set, I need to do a 6th set. I know how much suffering I'm going to go through. If I don't do it now, I'm going to pay it later. And so I'm trying to just like put myself, every time I do something, every time I don't want to do something, I remember that there's a way bigger reason why I should. And that why is like so cool. I haven't had that in 20 years. And it's something that I've never been overly competitive, but to be able to compete with myself and to compete against the time cap and to compete against a mountain in a course and 100 miles and something that can't even talk back to me, is like, that's the perfect competition for me.
That's beautiful. Yeah, man. I think that's a great way to end it. For folks that, want to follow along with the journey, what's the best way to see more Bickel?
IG, Bickelco, BICKELCO, and it's EL, like nickel, not LE, but I'm not hard to find. I've got a lot of cool friends out there that, constantly have me showing up in their world like you in this podcast. So, but Instagram, I'd like to, I'm trying to put something together for getting a video of the journey from 500 to 100, weighing 500 pounds, running level 100. I think it's an awesome opportunity. I'm not willing to force things. And so I'm just putting my money where my mouth is and just training like a psycho, and somebody's going to notice. And it's already happening. Like, can Speedlands pick me up for another year? So I'll get to be a Speedland athlete and run representing a shoe company that literally I couldn't have run 20 miles without these shoes. It just like revolutionized my ability to get into a wide toe box shoe that supports a big, huge man and doesn't beat up his body. So that's a great opportunity. I've got, I'm reaching out to all the other brands I work with and saying, like, I'm again calling my shot. I'm like, hey, do you want to be a part of something absolutely incredible? Because the journey's happening right now and it'd be cool to start documenting it. So try to do a little bit more of that. And yeah, man, just like, I'm super stoked to also Ryan Maguire. Check this man out. I know if you're watching this podcast, you know who he is, but anybody from my audience or my following that is watching this, like, you're an absolutely incredible human being and you shatter the mold of even what a mountain man is. And so, be it from hunting and teaching people how to live off the land and your wilderness courses and your ability to like, actually survive if the world collapsed is, you're probably number one on my list of the people that I would be like, that guy's going to be fine. If I could just keep up with him, I'll be okay. But yeah, man, that's the best way to find both of us.
I appreciate it. Well, Bickel, always a pleasure. We'll definitely do this again. Hopefully, we'll have a really cool update to give everyone in 8 months or so, and that way we can we can tell everyone that you called your shot and you fucking nailed it. So I'm stoked for that day to come.
Awesome, man. Well, I will check back in with the world. I would put my head down and give it everything I got. And yeah, I like pressure. If I didn't tell anyone, it definitely wouldn't happen. But if I can speak things into existence. Some people may even, tend to call it like a fibber, but I'm not fibbing, man. I'm like, I'll speak it into existence and I can see through the keyhole. So I'm like, right now I got like my fingers and like my nose through. So I just got to keep digging my way through that keyhole. We'll be on the other side soon.
That's right, brother. All right, everyone. Till next time, stay wild.
Love you, brother.